Good to see you people and my technology challenges. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to see you, and I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day with those who are near and dear to you. And we will be recording this for later replay if you don't mind. So we are so excited today to have you here, and we're so excited to have Miss Tina with us today. Tina is someone I've known for a while. I've tracked her down. I stalked her to find out who she was, and because she had a tea room here in the middle of a cornfield, which was kind of exciting to find that out. Tina, are you here, honey?
Yes, I am. How are you doing, darling?
I am doing fine. I'm doing fine. I'm going to tell a little bit about you, what I know about you, and I'm going to let you just sort of take it away. Tina is leaving us to go back to the UK, which makes me very sad. But she's going to be gone for just a short time, and then she's coming back to see us again for a few more months while she prepares to leave us to go back to the UK. So we're hoping we can partner with her or do whatever we need to do to keep her involved with Indiana Wonder Woman while she's here. She's a wonderful lady and just a dear heart. So Tina, I know what you're going to talk about. Your business is different. And I know Stacy knows that. Tina knows, we all know your business is different. But how are we different? So would you mind just go ahead, take it over, honey?
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks, Diana. And I've known Diana for some time now, and she's been through one of my programs. And I think what you're doing with Wonder Woman is amazing. And the support that the group gives is wonderful. So hats off to you for all that you're giving to the community. I think it's fantastic. I've been a big advocate of women in business because I am one, and I've run business both in the UK and the US since the late 1990s. Yes, I am that old. Yeah, the business. I think what a lot of people say to me is, oh no, I couldn't possibly do that because my business is different. And yes, it is. And no, it's not, because business actually is business. And what I found is that if you can put some kind of system and structure into your business, it just makes life so much easier. But as entrepreneurs, what we often find is we leave our day job to get away from some of that. And then we're basically reinventing the wheel every time we see a client. Does that ring true to anyone? Is that what you found?
Yes.
Yeah. It's and it's something I was challenged to do in my tea room business. And you're going to go, well, I don't have a tea room, I have this kind of business or that kind of business. In fact, what kind of businesses do you ladies run? What can I ask that question?
I'm a franchise matchmaker. I help people find their dream business.
Oh, fantastic. Now that's interesting, because when I ran my home staging business, we ran it as a licensed operation. So not quite the full franchise. And I know in the US, if it looks like a franchise, it's a franchise. We have different rules in the UK. So I ran my home staging business with 26 independent consultants. Wow. So it was quite a big operation. And we had to document stuff because I wanted to replicate what I did and pass that on to others so that they could basically be a mini me. And I think that's important in business. And you probably know all this already, but again, as a lot of independent business owners starting out don't realize those things. Who else have we got on who has a business?
Tina?
Yeah.
I have, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I run a virtual services business.
Right. So a VA, virtual assistant type of role?
Yes.
Which is fantastic, because business owners really need support. And that's another thing that I've learned, is that you can't I think when we start out in business, we're going to go, I'm going to do it all myself. I'm going to do it my way, and I don't need any help. And then you burn out and go, and you do. It takes a village. It takes a village to run a business. I've been in business, like I mentioned, for like I say, it's over 20 years now, which is, where does the time go? But running my tea room business, this idea of systems really came to a forefront when I was trying to do everything myself, because it was my business. I wanted it to be, like, Tina's traditional was my thing. And then I realized that I did need to put those systems and structures into place. And as soon as I did that, it really, really helped my business. It really did. And then the other part is, well, yes, your business is different because it's you. We don't want you to do, well, unless you're a franchise, of course, then you want to run it like everybody else. So this applies to all those other businesses that aren't franchises. But even in that, I think there has to be some personal connection, and your personality needs to come through, and you do it your way. And I think the beauty of running a business, and certainly what I found, is you can create it and do what you want to do. And often we end up chasing the money. And sometimes a few years down the road, you'll be thinking, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I'm burning out. I'm working with all these clients that I don't like very much. And I don't know if that rings true to anyone either, but I think knowing what business you're in is really important, but then also who you want to work with, and identifying that client really precisely so that you're getting the best results for them and you're getting the best experience for you and them. I think that's really important, that you're putting you into your business, and it is your business, and you don't end up building this monolith of stuff that you just don't enjoy doing anymore. And it's like, you wake up one morning and go, what am I doing? So yes, it's the same, because business is business, and there's certain things that are going to be the same across all businesses. And sometimes hearing other business owners in different industries talking about their challenges, you can extract from that. And rather than saying things like, that's not going to work in my business because my business is different, listen with different ears and ask a different question, which is more, can I use that in my business? How can I use that in my business? Oh, I've had something similar in my business, and now I'm learning what they've done to resolve it. Oh, yeah. And it just gives you another insight into how you can maybe solve a problem that you're facing, or where you can structure your services in a slightly different way. So yes, you are different, but no, you're not. And that is the amazing parody of the whole thing. Does that help?
That's very good, Tina.
So I think the next question that a lot of business owners avoid asking is asking for the money. I don't know if you've come across that yourselves, or if you've come across that in the franchise kind of situation. I think as women, we want to help everybody. Mm-hmm. We feel that we've got such a fantastic service offer, that why isn't everybody just knocking on our door? And you can see sometimes how much you can help someone, but they're just not ready for you yet. And sometimes we don't always want to ask for the money because we just want to help. Oh, let me help you, let me help you, let me help you. And I think as heart-centered women, we can sometimes have that problem of asking for the money. Another thing that can be challenging is that idea of avoiding marketing ourselves, because we don't always want to be out there up front. But we have to market ourselves. We have to raise our head above the parapet and go, hey, this is what I do. This is who I do it for, and be very specific within that, so that you're starting to attract people to you. They can self-identify. We have this little saying in marketing that marketing to everyone or everyone is a bad word. Marketing is actually a process of elimination. We're trying to eliminate the people that, just aren't interested. 99% of the world will not be your customer or even your ideal customer. It's really targeting on those specific people that can afford what you do, who need what you do, and who are looking for what you do. Really important that you get all three, because they can be looking for you and they can need you, but if they haven't got the money, then they're not going to be your customer. They could really need you, but if they're not looking for you and don't realize they have that problem, they're never going to find you because they're not looking. So all three of those things need to be in play. And one of the things that we talk about a lot and have done personally, and one of the things that I work with my clients to do, is start to systematize their business. And again, from the franchise point of view, you know all about this because that's what you're buying. You're buying the system. If you do anything more than twice, it can be turned into a system. And then we're not reinventing the wheel every time. We're not making it up as we go. We're going, oh, last time I did this, followed by the next step. Oh, I've got a 3-step process. I've got a 3-step system. I'll apply that to the next scenario and see if that works. Oh yeah, that is going to be the way I do things around here. And what that does, it doesn't just make life easier. It gives you the confidence to ask for the money, because then you can say, okay, well, in fact, let me give you a tea room example. Now, the great thing about owning a tea room, and I know I'm not talking to tea room owners here, although I do have a group of over 600 of them that I do talk to very specifically. But the beautiful thing about a tea room is that it's a restaurant. Has anybody been to a restaurant? Most people have been to a restaurant. The great thing about it, it's all about the service. It's all about the physical product. It has all the elements of many businesses. So when we talk about the tea room example, I'm hoping that you'll be able to extract something and you'll be able to say, no, it's not my business, but oh, that's very similar to what I do in mine. So let me give you an example. Someone is on the phone and they are wanting to book a bridal shower. So we've got 25 people coming and we want to come at midday. Well, actually, we don't do bookings at midday because it's our busiest time of the day, but we can do an 11 o'clock or we can do a 1:30. 11 o'clock or 1:30, that's the way we do things around here. Which one would you like? And we do a set menu and it's at this price or that price. Which one would you like? You see how easy it is to have the conversation when you know what it is you do and how you do it, and you're guiding the client into the way you do things around here. So, do you offer a vegan menu? Actually, no, we don't. Well, my whole group is vegan. Well, we're probably not going to be a good fit for you. You see how that you can have the confidence to have the conversation, because you could, I could go to the kitchen and say, okay, I've got 25 people, they all want vegan food. Do you know what would happen? My chef would probably have left. It's like, how can we do afternoon tea, which is bread and scones and cake, and not use butter or milk? Yeah, you see the issue? So don't try to be everything to everyone. Identify what you do and how you do it and stick to that. And, you maybe evolve services along the way, but if you can document the process of how we do things, have those checklists, whatever, the other amazing thing is you can hand that to somebody else. You can hand that to your right-hand person or to your VA, or turn your business into a franchise. That is the starting point, but it just makes life easier. Yet there's so much resistance when we're new businesses, because I've left corporate to get away from that. Or at least that was my experience. And it took me a long time to realize that it's important. And I hate systems. I hate writing stuff down in that level of detail, because that's not, I'm not a process-driven person. I don't like writing like lots and lots of stuff. And I had for a long time on my to-do list, document everything. That's like the elephant. And how do you start to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Yeah, you might have heard that before. But the beautiful thing about the systems idea is you don't have to do it all yourself. I mean, obviously, if you're the only person in your business, yes. But as you start to build your team, you can go to your right-hand person or to your team and say, well, this is how we do things around here. Write it down for me. Or you write the rough steps, the checklists. But it was the most amazing thing, because once I put systems in place for my tea room, and I did have a team, I had maybe 10 or 12 people working for me at any one of my locations, and I had 4 of them in the end. The beautiful thing was that the team knew what my expectations were. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the VA scenario, just as we've got the VA on the call here. When we bring in a VA as a business owner, sometimes we get really frustrated because they've not done what we want them to do. It's not quite worked. And mainly it's because the business owner hasn't been specific enough. And that was the big learning curve for me. Running such a big team was, if they're not doing it how I expect them to, it's not on them, it's on me. I have to take responsibility. What have I not told them? What have I not explained? What have I not documented? What have I not put out there? And if I have done that, where's the training fallen down? Have I specified it clearly enough? Have they told me that they understand and spoken it back to me in their words, if you like? But once you get that structure together, they know exactly what you want. And they can run with that, and they're empowered to do that. And suddenly you're not having to do everything every day yourself and feeling like you have to. One of my team members, she was a bit of a cheeky girl, but she told me straight down the line how it was. She said, Tina, you don't pay us not to do this work for you. You don't have a dog and wag your own tail. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes. Ask for the help, ask for the support, and it's there. And that works if we're working with a VA or working with our team. It really helps empower the people that you work with to know exactly what you want. But you have to define it. And that's one of the things I talk to my business owners about is, if you're not getting the results you're asking for from the people that are doing that piece of work that you've given them, are you sure you've been very specific about what it is you want them to do, when you need it by, and when to come to you for help? Now, we don't want them to pass it back to you, but they need to ask for help if they're unclear about something, and then pass it back to them. You might have heard this idea of the monkey on the shoulder. You don't want them to put in another monkey on your shoulder. You need to sit down with them and say, well, where you're stuck, and how can I help you achieve what you're doing? So a little bit of leadership and coaching is required, perhaps, with those individuals. But business owners do need to take that responsibility. Have I got any questions so far? Is this hitting home at all?
I love it, Tina. I love it.
Yeah.
I have seen Tina's operational paper that she posts every place in her facility. And it is marvelous because it helps the customer know what they want. It helps the help know what they're supposed to be doing. It really makes things so much. Do you have a whole operations book like that, or do you just...
Oh, yes, we did for the tea room. It was I suppose you'd call it an operations manual. That's what we had when we had the home staging business. In the tea room, we have the employee handbook, which is, how to turn up at work, what to wear, what's acceptable, no piercings, no blue hair, there was those kinds of presentational things. And then it was how to take a phone call, how to answer the phone. Hello, you're speaking to Tina from Tina's Traditional. How can I help today? So we'd have set ways that we wanted people to respond to things. And everything was documented. Use of mobile phones, use of company IT equipment, use of forms, how to clock in, because obviously in a restaurant you're on shift work, so you have to kind of log in when you start and when you finish, how to apportion tips. You know, there were so many layers. I mean, there is no more complex a business than a restaurant. It has so many moving parts. And I learned very quickly that we had to, you had to be responsible for product coming in, rotation of ingredients. Where did we get our ingredients from? I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. So without that, you just fall over. And what I find with a lot of my tea room owners that I coach is that my objective working with them is to make sure they don't burn out trying to do it all themselves. And so many, just don't last very long at all because they feel like they have to do it all, and they're running to the supermarket, and then they're running out of milk, and then they're having to make stuff, and then they're trying to serve, and it's just so much. You can't do it on your own. It needs to be, like I say, a village. And I know some people's businesses are just one person. You're a solopreneur. I'm a solopreneur again now because we've moved on from the tea room. But you do need to make sure that you have this set way of doing things as soon as possible, because it just makes life so much easier. Okay, let's see. I've got a few notes here. Let me just pull those up. Okay, so this is a question often asked, is some people say that you have to give something first before you, I don't know if this applies to everybody, but the idea that you are giving something for free first, or you're giving them a sample. Maybe it's a free hour of your time, or you're doing something to kind of evidence what your capability is. And then it becomes difficult to maybe ask for the payment. And people often ask, what kind of advice would I give in that scenario? So I do talk about this idea of having free stuff as your lead generator. So let's take the VA scenario. That could be why you need a VA, or it could be what to look for in a VA. What kinds of things, what kind of questions to ask, or a checklist of why do you need, why do you need a VA? Perhaps it's not quite the right question. It's if you are hitting these issues, these are some of the things that a VA can take off your hands and manage for you, and why that can help you. So that could be your free lead generator, for example. Another time that you might want to do something for free is the first time you've done something. I remember when I had my home staging business, I was offering a free consultation, again, just to demonstrate what I could do. But then once I defined the service of what that consultation looked like and the steps we went through, then that became a paid for service. So those are the only two times that I would do something for free. And that idea of doing something for the first time, I called that a test client. And the objective there is for you to get some experience, build your confidence, get some feedback, and also a testimonial. And then you become more confident and more comfortable asking for the money, if you like. And it becomes easy to say, within the consultation, we cover this and this and this, and this is the fee. And it just becomes a conversation. And I think sometimes we feel a little prickly about asking for the money or selling. I don't feel like I sell, I just inform. I'm just giving you information. We do this, this, and this is the cost. This is the fee. So it's just a natural, and to be honest, it took me a long time to get into that rhythm. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And if you have a checklist or a script, and I'm not saying read it word for word, but it's the prompt. And the more you say it, the easier it becomes.
Tina, may I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I think part of I'm seeing is we feel like we have to make it a hit every time. And sometimes
making a what? Sorry, every time?
we're
Just say
trying
that again.
to, in our consultation or in our efforts in general, we feel like we need to sign people up or make a result every time. And unless we're talking to the right people, it doesn't matter. And I think that's one of the things that we have to give ourselves a break for. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, because it reminds me of something someone said to me once in the home staging industry. She was a home staging individual. She just set up a business. She'd been through training. She got the certifications, and she said, I've got this and this and this, and I've got all the certifications. I've got all the qualifications I could possibly need for this. So how do I now go out and convince people to work with me? And it's like, whoa, you don't convince. That's the last thing you do. You don't need to convince. You need to share your information in such a way that it attracts the right people, because not everybody is going to be a client. Not everybody is. And if you can offer that lead generator something of value up front that kind of demonstrates what you do in a very practical sense, because if you're at a networking event and you've got your elevator pitch of 30 seconds, there might be some words in there that go, oh, that's me. That might be 1 in 100 people or what have you that is going to have that result. But if you can give something up first and get their email address as, if you like, payment for that. So you're giving them something and then they're giving you their contact information. It's indicating they're putting their hand up and going, I want to know more about this. But they might not be ready to buy at that point. The beautiful thing about this, and I see this happen quite a lot with new businesses when they have their website developed, they'll have a place for, a contact me page, and an email gets sent to the business owner. But that email address is just on email. It hasn't gone into a database. And that's one of the first steps that I do when I work with business owners who are just starting out, is making sure that email, that data, that person that's put their hand up, put that information into the database so that they can then start emailing people on a regular basis who have already said, I'm quite interested in what you're doing. I'm not ready to buy yet, because I've not said, yes, sign me up. They're saying, I'm interested. And what you do then is you nurture through regular communication. And maybe it could be a client testimonial saying, we've just worked with this client and this was the result we had. Or it might be, this is something about our service and how that works. Or it might be, well, here's 5 top tips. And the balance between asking for business and giving value information and content, how-tos and such like, is goes give, ask, give, ask. So you're giving twice and you're asking once for their business. So that's how you kind of build that nurturing sequence for those people that have put their hand up. Now, I'm going to give you an example. In my Tea Room Secrets group, I offer, the first question that people ask me is, I'm interested in opening a tea room. In fact, I'm really getting quite passionate about it. I've been collecting china for the last 2 years because I want to open a tea room, but I have no idea where to start. That was the first question people would be asking. And it kept coming up again and again and again and again and again. And what you do is you listen to what your client wants and you go, a free ebook on the 15 steps to opening a tea room might be a good start for people, because they'll, rather than having this romanticized idea about, oh, it'd be great to open a tea room when I retire, which can I tell you is the worst possible time to open a tea room, because it takes so much energy to run one. And you're probably slowing down a bit by then. And people have this romanticized idea about, oh, it'd be so nice to open a tea room and I could have tea every day. You don't. You don't eat your food. You don't drink your tea. You're so busy delivering to your customer. But wouldn't the 15 steps to opening a tea room be helpful for somebody that wanted to do that? So that became my lead generator. So it's going to probably put off maybe 75% of people because it's a lot of hard work. But you know what? That 5% that come through, they really, really, really want to open a tea room. And now they have a starting point. And now they're in an environment where they can get that support. Do you see how that works? Mm-hmm. So have a think about, is that something I can apply to my business? Mm-hmm. What is the question that people first ask you? Could you do a checklist or a little ebook? Anyways, I'll leave that one with you. How are we doing? Have you any other questions?
All right. When people come back and say, well, that's pretty expensive.
What's expensive?
Well,
my service is expensive.
I would do this, but it's too expensive. Or
yeah.
I don't have the money, right?
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think as new business owners, we sometimes think that the people I'm talking to don't have the money. And sometimes they'll say to you, I can't afford it. I'd love to, but it's too expensive. Or, you know, the question of money comes up and it can become a little bit awkward if we're not careful. What that basically is telling you is that they're not a good fit yet. Mm-hmm. Now, it means that they're not ready yet to do it. If they are really interested, it might just be a case of timing. So I always think of this idea of it's a no, but it might be a no, not yet, rather than a no, never. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if they continue to be interested, they'll, you know, probably keep working with you on any free stuff that you provide, and eventually they may become a client, or it could be that they'll never be a client. And like I say, marketing is a process of elimination. So it might be just what they say to get out of the conversation because, you know, they're just not ready. But I think as business owners, especially when we first start out, we're thinking, I'll charge less and I'll be able to get more clients. It does not work like that. It does not work like that. I remember reading something recently and it said, do you know any good, cheap, I can't remember what it was now, good, cheap web developers? And it's like, well, you don't get good, cheap. They're kind of mutually exclusive. Do you want a good, cheap dentist? No. Sometimes charging more means that you get more clients, and certainly charging more gets you more of the right clients. Now, let me take it back to the tea room example. I had a lady come in once and she said, I'd like, what Coke products do you do? Don't do any Coke products. It's a tea room. You know, that's one of the things we do not do. We do not know any. Well, I'm not going to come here again. Okay, that's fine. Go to McDonald's if that's what you need, you know, go somewhere else. It's fine because what we do is very specific and it's fairly, you know, I'm going to say we're at the top of the pile because there are people that charge a lot more than we did in the tea room. We're probably kind of middle of the road, but we are very specific to people that enjoy tea. And you don't want tea in a tea room, then you're probably not a good fit. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So too expensive is not always a bad thing to hear. It just means that they're not a good fit for you. They're not your ideal client. Does that make sense?
Systems for a second. Can you tell us what you see as essential systems that we should have in place?
No, that's a really good question. Really good question. I think there's probably about 5 of them that I would really kind of focus on. And this is something that I do a lot of work with my tea room clients, because again, lots of moving parts, lots of expenses. As soon as you open those doors every day, you're clocking up expense, which is brutal. And I know not every business is like that, but it's an extreme. And sometimes it's good looking at the extremes and thinking, well, how does that relate back? You need to know the costs so that you can set out your pricing. And often new business owners especially go, well, I've already got the computer, I've already got the phone. It's just my time, especially if you're doing kind of consultancy work or VA work or what have you. It's just my time. It's not, I'm not actually providing, I'm not buying product in to sell it. So I don't need to charge that much because it's just my time. It's such a mistake. You need to know your costs, because that then starts to help your pricing. And you also need to know what costs you need to cover. So it might be that this is your only source of income and you need to cover your mortgage or your rent. So it's bigger than just your time. So it's your electricity, it's the office space. Even if you're not renting a space, you kind of are, because even if you're running from home, you need to contribute to the bills. If you're driving anywhere, gosh, cost of gas. So having a good bookkeeping system so you can actually track your costs is going to be really important. Plus the fact you need bookkeeping for when you come to do your taxes at the end of the year. So bookkeeping, as dull as finance is for a lot of people in business, you've got to have a bookkeeping system. And the point of it, it's not just the data entry of it, but it's what you get, the management information that you get off the back end. It's what you understand about the management of your business, what things are really costing you. And that helps drive your prices.
Now, I have a question.
Sure.
As far as the bookkeeping, do you suggest a bookkeeping software or actually hiring that out to, say, a professional bookkeeper or accounting?
Yeah, I've done both, and I think it depends on the size of your business. You can, I've used QuickBooks, and I know enough to be dangerous, and then I had to pay a lot of money later as my business grew to sort out all the mistakes I'd made, and I did get a refund, so that was good. But you don't really want to get into that situation. So if you can hire as soon as you can, I would recommend it. And that's the first thing I'm doing now in my new kind of business coaching business, is hiring that bookkeeper, because I just don't want the headache of it. But make sure you get somebody that really knows what they're doing. I've had some bad experiences over the years. I think because my business grew too quickly for the experience of the bookkeeper. But you can start off on your own. But I think it's the first thing I did in my home staging business. The first employee was a bookkeeper, or the first outsourced person that I had was my bookkeeper and accountant. You have to make that work. And I think sometimes we bring on, we have resistance about hiring somebody, whether or not that's on payroll or as a consultant, or as a contractor, because we say we can't afford it. I think the question needs to be, how can I afford it? If you're getting good management information about your costs, and you may be sitting down with them each month just to do a mini review, we'd just take an hour each month reviewing where we were up to. It was like, oh, it's all those, it's all those, we call them key performance indicators. It's like, oh, I need another client, or I didn't sell quite so much this month, or I'm up or I'm down. It gives you a focus. It's like, I need to get another client. If you got one more client, would that afford you the bookkeeper and accountant? Yeah. So it focuses you. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't wait until you can afford it. Do it, and then make the adjustments that you need, make that the incentive to go out and get that extra client and get that extra revenue coming in, because they will add value to your business to allow you to do that. And there's also a phrase that I use a lot and keep reminding myself only do what only you can do. Does that make sense? Only do what only you can do. So as a VA, you can only do the VA bit. Doing the washing up, doing the cleaning, doing the bookkeeping can be passed on to somebody else. If you're charging $100 an hour, don't do $10 hour work. Only do what only you can do. Everything else can be passed out eventually. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Cool. So bookkeeping is number one. And it would be the first thing that I would ever do. The second thing, when we've touched on this already, we talked about this idea of how we do things around here. And that's important when you're growing a team, but it's also important when you're telling your customer, well, this is how we do things around here. Do you remember that example I gave you about, I want to book a bridal shower at 12 o'clock on this date? And it's like, no, we don't actually do that. We can do this and this and this instead. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's how you can talk to your client. I call it the strategic objective. It's a one-page document of the strategic objective of what we do around here. And it's also about knowing what business you're in and what business you're not in, what clients you'll work with and what clients you won't work with, what you do and what you don't do, setting the boundaries, being very specific. And it's your strategic objective. Now, this isn't something that you post on your website. It's not marketing. It's about your own mental clarity on what you do. So when opportunity comes along, if it doesn't fit with that strategic objective, you can say no to it. Because I think in business, it needs to be a hell yes or a no. Does that make sense? So strategic objective, and this is something that I take my coaching clients through on how to do that. And I give you examples of how I've done that within the tea room. But it was the most powerful thing, because when I presented that to my team, they went, oh, we get it. We get what Tina's tradition was all about. It was like a brain dump about what vision I had. It was like the first leadership document, and it was so empowering and liberating. And from the strategic objective, you can fall into your service definition. The service definition is how. So the strategic objective is what we do, what business we're in and what business we're not in. And then the service definition is specifically how we do it and how we deliver it, so that you can have a set service offer. Once you have a set service offer or multiple services, you can go to market and say, I do this, and this is how much it is. I do this, and this is how much it is. It really gives you a lot of clarity, but it also makes it so much easier to, I was going to say sell, but I don't like using that word, because people hate to be sold to, but they love to buy. So what we do is we make an offer. Now, for a long time, I used to think of offer was like discount. No. I'm not talking about discounted offers. I'm talking about the offer. So what we offer is this and this for this much. What we offer is this and this for this much. I'd like to invite you to take me up on this offer if it speaks to you. I'd like you to take me up on this offer if you think this is a good fit for you right now. You see how easy that becomes a conversation rather than a sell? You're inviting people to buy rather than pushing a sale. It's very, it's slight, but really different and much more powerful. Does that make sense? So let me just recap. Bookkeeping, strategic objective, service definition. That's the first three. Any questions on that so far?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Tell us how you do marketing.
Say again, sorry?
Tell us about your marketing.
About my marketing, yes. Well, I'm going to come on to that, because the fourth thing is structuring your day and your week so that you get things done. I mean, how many times do you get to the end of the week and go, not really covered everything, not done everything I wanted to do? I don't know if you're like me, but that happens. It can happen. But what we can do is we can put structure in your day and in your week so that you do get those things done. And we call those exponential growth activities. And that's when we're working on the business rather than in the business. You might have heard that phrase before, working on your business rather than in it. But then it's like, well, I never have time because I'm always doing this, this, and this. And there is a doing element of the day-to-day, which is when you're servicing your client and you're having those meetings or you're doing the work for the client. But you need to also make time in your week to do work on your business. You have to develop your own business. Now, it might be taking time to do some training to up your skills. It might be doing the administration, which I never really enjoyed, but you have to do it because you're going to run a serious business. You have to do the administration of your business, which is paying the invoices, sending invoices out. I mean, how many times do we forget to invoice? In fact, let me just make a note of that. I need to invoice somebody and I haven't done that yet. Making sure that we're doing the things for our business to ensure that the business is on track, make adjustments where we need to, put those strategies in place. Maybe it's working on a new service. Maybe it's working on a new revenue stream. Maybe new ideas come to us. We need to make time for that because, well, if we don't, who else is going to do it? It's your business. You have to take ownership of that. So structuring your day or week so that you have, and rather than just fitting it in when you have a moment, get the calendar out. Mondays was my day. It was my work from home day. It was where I got stuff done on my business. Now, pick a day that works for you, but doing an EGA day is a very good idea. And the fifth thing is marketing. And it's how we do the marketing and what marketing we do. And the great news is you don't have to be everywhere on social media. I think sometimes we get completely overwhelmed by feeling like we have to be everywhere. You don't. You just have to be where your clients are. And then you need to marry that with what you feel most comfortable with. Now, I do some video, I do photos, I do articles, the written word, the world of images, and then the world of video. Video is most powerful, I think. Pictures probably a little less so, content on its own, but then different people have different learning styles. So some people like to read, some people like to see, and some people like to watch. The important thing is to find something that is comfortable for you, or something that you are going to commit to doing frequently, or should I say regularly, something that you can commit to. So don't go so far out of your comfort zone that you'll never do it, but maybe, going on video for the first time or putting some pictures out there, but committing to do something that feels good for you. Which basically brings me on to an offer I'd like to make, which is, if it speaks to you, whether or not you're listening to this live or recorded, is I have a little workshop that I'm going to be running. It's called Marketing Magic. It's a little workshop that we're going to run live, because I think it's about time we did more things live and face-to-face, and I think we can get more out of that when we come together. And I'm running it on May 14th, which is Wednesday. If you can't make that date, I'm running the same program on Saturday, the 18th of May. And what we're going to be covering there is how to get to your authentic self so that you're marketing from your heart center, so it's comfortable. Because if we try and be something we're not, or we're trying to copy somebody else and the way they're doing it, we'll not do it, or it will come across as fake. We need to be really authentic. So we get to drill down into the authentic self. And then we find where you're comfortable, where your comfort zone is, and then how you can take that to market to be really effective, so that you become, it's kind of like a bit of magic, really. You're kind of attracting the right people. They just kind of go, that's me, they just kind of pop up. You don't you don't have to put any more work in. You're not putting any more effort in. You're just refocusing on you and how you feel comfortable marketing and getting that alignment in place. Does that sound cool?
Tina,
Really
tell us where
is.
that's going to be.
Yeah, so it's going to be at my home in Brownsburg, actually. Diana's been over to my house when she did a workshop with me a few years ago now.
Before COVID.
Before COVID. So we're going to be running it from 11 till 3 on Wednesday and repeating it again on Saturday, same time, over in Brownsburg. I've got a link. We can add that to the when this goes out as a replay. We can add that to the site.
I put the links in the chat.
Fantastic, thank you. If you can bring somebody with you, maybe a business colleague, a friend that has a business, you can bring, this is a special offer I'm just doing for Diana and this group, is if you can bring somebody along with you, that person can come for free.
Wow.
So it's $97 for you, and you can bring somebody with you for free. And then you can decide if you want to gift it to them, or if you want to go halves, just to make it a bit more affordable. Does that sound like a good offer?
Sounds great.
So have a think if that's something that works for you. Click on the link and you can sign up for that. And you can always reach out to me as well if there's any questions that you have.
How can people reach you?
So my email address is probably the best way of getting hold of me. It's really simple. It's tina.jesson, that's JESSON @gmail.com. But my website is called The Experience Academy. The Experience Academy, but there's no E in experience. So it's The Experience Academy, because when we're building a business, we're building experiences for our clients. And that's what I teach within the academy. So we have some free stuff on there. In fact, there is a workbook that I've just put up there now, which is the workbook that goes alongside the workshop that I'm going to be running. So go along and sign up for that. That's the free gift to you. And that will give you the framework for what we're going to be covering in the workshop. But we're actually going to be doing the work in the workshop. So actually going to be working on your business. So, we were talking about that EGA time. Perfect thing to do just for 4 hours, but it will really help you get that alignment and start answering those questions that you have and getting over some of those challenges that you might be facing in your business right now.
Can people sign up on the link, Tina?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And they can pay on there. So thank you so much. This has been so helpful. Are there any things that you think we should know definitely, like to do today? Or I think the systems were very helpful.
Yeah, I hope you've written all those down. You were kind of making a note of those. What I can do is I can put a few of these notes, I can send them over to you, Diana, and you can add them to the video once you upload it.
I would love that.
I'll do a little bit of coaching with you, Diana, to make the most of these videos.
Okay.
There's a few tips and tricks there when things go up onto YouTube and such like.
That would be wonderful.
Although I've owned a home staging business and I've owned a tea room, 4 tea rooms, both in the UK and the US, my strength is around the marketing and about the business growth. Because again, as a business owner, to grow, there's certain things that you have to put in place, there's certain things you need to do. So my strength is around business development, bringing in new revenue streams, and making sure that you're connecting with the right people to hear your message. So if that speaks to you, then maybe I'm your girl.
Thank you so much. You're such a dear friend. And if we can help you with what you need to do the next stage, we're here for you. So
Well, thank you. And the beauty of the work that I'm going to be doing going forward is that my one-on-one coaching clients or my group coaching clients, we can do this even if I'm living in the UK. And I don't know, there's something kind of special about doing this work together in this environment. So I think COVID's taught us one thing, is that we don't have to be in the room, but let's be in the room when we can. And I'm sure I'm sure I'll be coming back to see you for your conference.
I know.
When that comes up later in the year.
Thank you so much. You have a
Okay,
wonderful,
Diana.
wonderful day. God
Lovely
bless.
to
Thank you,
see you.
Tina.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. I'm going to call you, Tina.
Okay, that sounds great.
Thanks. God bless. Goodbye. Bye. Thank you.